Hey Anton, I agree with what you're saying. This trend of self-promotion and reading atrophy is really an atrophy of attention, in my opinion. But I think it's inevitable, and I think it comes with a digital civilization. So we need to, instead of despairing over this, or just just noting the inadequacies of the next generation, we instead should embrace it and find a way to work with it. Now, what I mean by inevitable is that I really do think it's this ADD, this attention deficit disorder, is a product of the personal computer, where in the past you had to be able to interact in a fully live human setting, and there really was no other alternative. I mean, there's a private setting where perhaps you might get more intimate or in depth in your communication, but there was no completely selfish means of exploring, which I see the personal computer as. And so the more time we spend on the computer, uh, it is. We become inundated with information if we so choose. We could spend our time with pointless games and whatnot on the internet, but we also could be reading the tens of thousands of witty, informed, relevant writers that are appearing on the internet. And what this is, it's Clay Shirky. I haven't read his work, but I saw a TED video, TED, um, and he wrote a book called Here Comes Everyone, and he's simply noting that we've never seen the inside scoop of everyone's lives before. We pretty much only get the public presentation of what they think and how they feel. Now we have the opportunity to jump behind the line of public and private, so to speak, private with yourself even, and if you so choose and open up, people can read precisely what you mean. I mean, this communication form is incredibly strange, and needs to be differentiated between human to human communication, in my opinion. I mean, notice how for instance, I'm technically talking to you, Professor Anton, but if I don't reference what we were talking about, what you were talking about in your previous video, then anyone who's watching my video will be completely lost. So I need to integrate what you said and represent it. Otherwise, if people don't follow in a logical pattern, watching your video, then my video, then response, etc., they'll be completely lost. So this communication just it's completely strange. I'm talking to a webcam here. If anyone else was in the room, I'd feel very uncomfortable. So it is this ADD mentality. This 3-minute video is very detrimental to our way of living. Now, I think it's inevitable. What I want to focus on instead is what is the key of being a good reader, to be able to read the greats, as you said. Um, I think it's I think it's I think it's attention. I think it's the will, the zest of life, the want to discover life that provides the impetus to be able to read for more than 20 minutes, to be able to break through that troublesome attention span. What makes a good painter, his ability to always be in the moment, in the presence of what he's doing as a painter, and fully enjoying it. He's not thinking about what else he could be doing in 5 minutes. He's right into his motion, and he's got an idea of what he's doing, and he's focused. He's got focused intent. You notice with Tiger Woods, one of the things I find so incredible, well, and what simply describing or noting how well he's done is his piercing attention. You can almost see it; it's palpable through the television, and that's what I want people to cultivate. Not necessarily reading it. You know, it's possible. I think reading may be it's going to be a virtue or some sort of classical way of accepting information. I guess what I'm saying is we the inclusion of the personal computer into our daily lives for more than a couple hours, you're gonna need to be able to have two forms of communication. One, debriefing, where you're simply providing information to someone who has no idea what you're about. So you are providing you're filtering all of your knowledge into a 90-second promo ad. The other type of communication is to someone who is exactly of a like mind as you or a like intent as yourself. Then you become much more in depth. In fact, as in depth and intricate and complex as you possibly can speak with honesty. But there's that form of communication will not disappear. It simply is taking a back seat. This three minute form of read and decide whether it's worthy of your attention is the new standard, status quo. It's the way you're going to have to function in a digital world to be able to get along smoothly. So yes, I think this might be, for the vast majority of the human race, the depth of reading, of in-depth reading, of really getting to know a um, a writer or someone's work. Maybe not. I'm hoping that, well, I believe it's inevitable, that trend, this reading atrophy and attention deficit disorder trend will become ubiquitous. So the key will be to have a way for people to discover what they love and develop a way that they can maintain their focus in that activity for as long as they need, as long as they want. And I think that's the key of all human endeavor, whether it's masonry or, electricians, whatever, anything, philosophers, to be able to stay in that mind state that intrigues you so much, and to be completely absorbent and willing to learn, to listen to another person. That's essentially what we're talking about here. So I probably jumped around a lot here, uh, but hey, you and I we're figuring out how to communicate with a new medium, and it's something to be excited about and not necessarily despair. So yeah, I'll link a couple of things I mentioned, and Clay Shirky and the attention economy. Maybe tie some thoughts together here at the end with some links. And all right, thanks.